Hi, I'm Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies, and today we're here to look at the TRU Ball Goat Release. It's new for 2018 from TRU Ball Archery, and I'm going to say TRU Ball has been producing release aids for years, but in the last couple of years TRU Ball's really come into its own as far as target release aids. The blade became huge for TRU Ball in the top line elite category of release aids. The goat is more expensive than the blade, and we'll just talk a little bit about that. Originally, I'm going to go back in time with release aids. So back in the old days, in 1985s, I think that's about right, there used to be a brand called Hot Shot, which was pretty much Hot Shot, Fletcher-Matic, and there was another one. They were the big release aid companies, and then Carter came out with this hair release aid, and all the professional archers started using it. And Carter was the dominant release aid company for basically years. Then TRU Ball produced a couple of release aids which were, I'm going to say, mildly successful, I'm going to say less than successful, and really didn't rival Carter release aids. Then it came out with some back tension release aids, the HTs, HTs just coming to the top of my head, which became very successful back tension release aids and started challenging the likes of Stanislavski and Carter release aids. Then they came out with the TRU Ball blade. Now this was a game changer as far as I was concerned for TRU Ball. This put them right on the cusp of the top release aids designed. A lot of the top pro shooters started using this, and it really broke away from the Carter dominance that Carter had for just literally years and years. Now there is Stanislavski release aids, which obviously a whole bunch of people use, but Carter really had the monopoly on the market, and TRU Ball really, I'm going to say, knocked it out of the ballpark with the TRU Ball blade release aid. Now they also have the Abyss, which is very popular, the Fulcrum, and release aids, which basically you can either shoot back tension or thumb, but you've got to buy two release aids. With the Goat release aid, you can either shoot it with a thumb activated or a back tension. Now I want to go into why you want this as far as a normal release aid. Now if you're a basic hunter, you're probably not going to want this release aid. The price point is about 400 Australian dollars. More expensive than other shops, but roughly 400. I think in the US it retails at 325 ballpark, which equates to about 400 Australian dollars. Now most hunters are going to shoot wrist release aids. There's going to be a few who shoot thumb release aids, but at $400 this is going to put it way out of the price point of most recreational archers. But for top target archers, this is definitely an option as far as top of the line release aids. So how does it compare to the likes of the blade and other top of the line release aids? And that's what I really want to discuss in this video. So to start off with, let's look at what's in this box. So it comes set as a thumb release aid. Now this release aid enables you to change from a thumb release aid to a back tension release aid. Now why do you want to do that? A lot of target archers particularly get, I'm going to say, panic when they're aiming at the target, and this is my first go with this release aid, so I haven't shot it before. So they're basically aiming, and because they practice so much, they preempt when they're going to shoot the shot, and especially in high tension situations. So if you're shooting a competition, then you start to panic, and instead of it shooting when you're aiming at the 10, it shoots when you're aiming at the 9. And then it gets worse and worse because the tension builds up, and that's where the hinge release aid comes in, because you don't know when it's physically going to shoot. So the Goat enables you to swap from a thumb release aid to a back tension release aid, and all in the one release aid. So you do not need two release aids. Now there's a whole bunch of top target shooters who shoot a whole bunch of different release aids, and they shoot that for a reason. One, they don't want to become familiar with the release aid. They might shoot back tension to train. They might shoot, if it's a windy day like today, which is a terrible windy day, so hopefully it sounds not too bad. So if it's a windy day, they'll go back to shooting a thumb release aid. So basically, when the pin's in the center of the target, they'll push the shot off. So with the one release aid, you do not need to buy two release aids. Like the Abyss and the Fulcrum is identical release aids, one being a thumb and one being a back tension release aid. You do not need to buy two. So hence, you could argue the point that the Goat is physically cheaper than having to buy two release aids. But what does it shoot like? That's the question. Now, first off, I'm going to look at this release aid. It comes in a 3-finger model. It has the attachments that for the 4-finger model in the kit. It's nickel brass on one side, so theoretically it shouldn't tarnish. And the other side's a straight alloy. Now that's pretty much common with the TRU Ball blade design, but the blade design has a cross-hatch system on the back here. So it's like that. You can see it's got a grid system. The Goat, for some reason, TRU Ball didn't put that in the Goat series. Now, obviously, the Goat stands for greatest of all time. Whether this is or isn't, that's an interesting point. Now, just on the back tension release aids, the TRU Ball release aids on back tension use a slightly different system to other people. They've got a spring in this system here to activate this. So when you want to change from a click to a non-click, I find it a little bit not as simple as other release aids. Is that the right word to put it? Sometimes sometimes I can change from click to non-click in 2-3 minutes, and sometimes it takes me 15 minutes. So I have a complete, I don't really want to do it. I don't want to change from click to non-click. And as much as I like the TRU Ball back tension release aids, and I do like them, they are one of my favorite back tension release aids, changing from click, which is the default setting, to non-click, which is what I shoot, and I'll explain what that is. As you're about to shoot the shot, when it goes click, and then after that, when you move it a little bit more, it then shoots the shot. For me, that creates, as soon as I hear the click, I basically, my whole body shakes because I don't know what a click is. So I turn the click off and it's just a smooth, straight through shot. So for me, changing from click to non-click is a pain. Most of them, you just move the sear around, and it's a really simple process. This is not so simple, and I haven't done one of these. This is literally just came in my shop this week, and yes, I did get it 4 months after everyone else, well, after lots of other people, which, maybe TRU Ball's busy, but that's the way life is. It's just disappointing when you're a shop and you get it 4 months after everyone else, but it is what it is. Now, the finish on the release aid is beautiful. It's literally a beautiful design. I shoot 3 fingers, so the thumb, it feels very much like a blade. It sounds like a blade inside. The mechanism to adjust the tension and the travel is the same as a blade. Here, you've got a locking screw on the side, just there, you loosen that, and there's a spring inside here. You wind this in or out, in to increase the tension, out to decrease the tension on the spring. You adjust the travel through this little screw here, and there's a locking thing on the side there. That's identical to the blade. So to me, as far as the blade is concerned, this feels like a blade. Now let's have a shot and let's see how it feels. Now the blade to me is one of my favorite thumb release aids. Now my problem is I tend to shoot extremely well with the thumb release aid, and then I fall to bits, which is really unfortunate. Just before the Nationals, I was shooting really, really well with thumb release aid, shooting a blade. And the night before the championship, I fell apart. So I had to go back to back tension. It was really, really unfortunate. So let's have a shot with this. Now, the reason I'm doing this video, one of the reasons I'm doing this, is because I sold 2 of these on Saturday in my shop, and today's Sunday. And Saturday, I think it was Saturday night, I got 2 emails from the 2 people, 2 messages on Facebook from the 2 people I sold them to on Saturday. And they said, this is amazing, this release aid. It shoots really, really well, which is very unusual to get 2 messages. Now, to me, I've shot the blade. The grip here feels a little bit narrower in the finger. It's got a different ridge system down here to the blade in the little finger here. It feels more comfortable to me than the blade. The trigger itself feels comfortable. So I'll just explain how to load it. You push that in. It's then loaded. You hook the thing on the D-loop. Now I'm going to say it's easy to load the blade. The blade, I'll show you how the blade works. It's definitely easier to load the blade than to load this. I mean, it's not hard, as you can see, but look, the thumb position is in a really nice, comfortable position. It feels nice. Feels really nice. I'm just going to grab a blade. Now it comes in two sizes, medium and large. I'm a average size guy, 5'10", 5'11". Normal build. I'm going to say normal build. I weigh 78 kilos right now. Medium is the size for me. I'm going to say IT hands. If you've got tradie hands, you're definitely going to be a large. I generally find people who work in trades have larger hands. They tend to, because they're working with their hands a lot. I've obviously got technical hands because I'm not a labourer. So I've got soft hands. Now the blade. The blade is a very successful release aid for TRU Ball. It comes in a whole heap of colours, and this isn't a review about the blade. But it's been an extremely popular release aid for them. Now this is the blade. You can see it's brass on one side. Now see the way it clicks, loads there? That to me is easier than the other system. Now I'm going to say the Goat feels better in the hand straight up than this. It feels better there for some reason. The shape feels similar, but that little finger, that third finger, it feels better with the Goat. Now this release aid, this is the brass version, probably sells for $380, $370, so very, very similar in price. Okay, so I'm going to just point out some differences straight up with these two releases. Okay, so the Goat has got the big knurl here for your thumb. The Goat has got the little thing. Now you can buy this for this release aid, but to me this is so much more comfortable. In fact, one of my staff purchased a brass version of this thumb. Here, I think he paid $80 for it. I think it was 80. There's some guy who produces that in brass. He brought one of those. But to me, this feels more comfortable as a thumb release aid than the blade. And the blade, to me, is one of the better release aids. I'll just have another shot just to make sure that's the case. But to me, it felt, the hand position felt much, I'm going to say much more comfortable in the Goat than the blade, and there's nothing wrong with the blade. Nothing wrong with it at all. It just felt better. Now, just on this point, I started with the whole history of TRU Ball and release aid development. I think with development of archery gear, the concept of companies coming out with new designs and then archers wanting to buy a new design, you don't need a new release aid. You don't need this to shoot better. But when it comes out, people get excited because it's a new product and hence they buy stuff. This to me feels better than the blade, and I'd be inclined to buy it. Not that it would improve my score at all, but it does feel better in the hand, which is why I'd probably buy it. It feels pretty good with the thumb. In fact, it feels so comfortable, I feel like I could shoot the thumb with it. But that could just be my brain not panicking at this stage, and when it starts to panic, I could be buggered again. So, okay, so I'm going to explain what just happened then. Okay, so the little thing was off, the little hook. I then loaded it. I couldn't get it to connect. So when you load it, you've got to load it so the hook's down, and see now it's locked in place. So feels really, really good. Now, for me, I wasn't inclined to buy this just purely for the price at $400, but that feels really, really good. Feels so good that I'm inclined to buy one, which I hate buying stuff. Okay, let's just explain how to change this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change it off camera to back tension. So you've got a screw here, you undo that screw, the pin comes out, which enables this head to then move like a back tension. Moving this back, so this will flop backwards and forwards, same as the HT from TRU Ball, so it activates like a back tension. You swap this from being a thumb, see there, it's got a little lock, you swap it from being a thumb to a back tension, and you've got a trigger thing down here to lock this trigger in place so it doesn't activate like a thumb. Once you've done that, it's set up as back tension. Now if you want to change the click off and on, you'll have to take it'll be taking this off here. There'll be a little, you'll have to take this off here and then swap it. I'm sure there's instructions to show you how to do it. There'll be a spring in there, guaranteed, which is not simple, and that's for me, I know it's going to be difficult, and that sort of stuff just frustrates me. So for me, it's like, and when customers come to my shop and they go, can you swap this around? I'm like, because you generally do it for free, and it's like, oh, this could take me half an hour to do it. Sometimes, like I said, you can do it in 2 minutes, but all right, let's swap this to back tension, and I'll have a shot with the back tension with the click, because I'm not going to turn the click off. When you take the screws off, there's a little thing there to put the screw and the peg into, like a little holder. So I will swap this over to back tension, and okay, to swap this to back tension was literally take the screw off the side there, and the little pin comes off. You can see where the pin fits in just through there, so it holds it in place. Then it was just lock that in place, and then there's a little lock screw there. Basically you're locking this and the thumb can't move. So there's a screw which is screwed in, you just screw it out a bit. Literally it took me a minute, less than a minute to do. Very, very simple. Now the micro adjustment to change the angle in which it activates is just there. I'm not going to do that, I'm just going to see how it feels in the shot. I'm just looking where the little click is. The click will be in there. And taking that out, I'm hoping TRU Ball's got a video to show you how to convert from click to non-click. And I'm hoping that I don't flinch too much with the non-click. I'm hoping I don't punch myself in the mouth. It always makes for good TV if you punch yourself in the mouth on the first attempt with back tension release. So let's try it. Now I will say the back of the TRU Ball release aids, the HT, I didn't really like the HBC because I found the claw too big, but they do make a beautiful back tension release aid. This just feels scary for me to start off with because I feel like this is still a thumb, so it's just a mental thing. So I feel like it's still a thumb release aid. So normally as I pull back a thumb release aid, I keep my thumb off the trigger. Where here, as I pull back with the back tension, I put my thumb on the trigger. So just that is doing my head in a little. So let's just see how it is. Oh shit. I'm out of breath. That was terrible. So first off, you can see what happened. The click activated and then basically I'm all off the target again, so I've got to start aiming again, which is why I can't shoot with the click. And then it was taking me way too long to get that shot off. So I suppose I'd have to watch a video on how to change the click or read the instructions on how to turn the click off. So I definitely like the thumb. The thumb is probably the nicest of all releases I've probably shot as far as the thumb. The back tension kind of freaks me out a little because it freaks me out a little bit because it's not, I feel like it's a thumb release aid still. Where normally I can just grab any back tension release aid and go shoot it and it's all fine and literally my arrows go in the middle. With this I just found it a little bit scary, nerve-wracking with the thumb. Now I suppose I'll show you how to do, I'll just explain how that, I'm not going to do it, I'm not going to convert this from thumb to back tension, like to no click. There's a little pin there, just there, you can see it. So you've got to take this screw off there. The pin comes out and this head will come off and that will give you access to the little click thing, which will be just a rotation thing. Now there will be, I'm going to guess there's a spring in there or something. Actually there's no spring on this. That's interesting. So the TRU Ball release aids, the back tension ones, have a spring in them generally. You can see this has no spring. So it's almost like the Scott release aids, and I'll just grab some other back tension release aids which I normally have. Oh, okay, there's a Scott. You can see this one has no spring. I've got a whole quiver full of release aids, what I normally do. They have no spring. The TRU Ball ones normally have a spring which pulls this head back into place. This does not, which is interesting because it looks like a HT release aid, which is a very popular back tension release aid, but it doesn't have that spring to push it back. Anyway, look, your best bet's to go and try stuff. I'm a big fan of trying stuff. I like the thumb. I like the thumb of this. I'm not so certain about the back tension. And I know the two guys who shot it on Saturday shot it as a thumb. I don't know about the back tension. I almost feel happy with the other back tension release aids. But maybe that's just me and getting used to it. I don't know how you feel, but for me it feels weird knowing this is a big knurly thumb and that's what I'm used to, where the back tensions always have like a little thin thing here. So that's just me. But overall it's a good quality product, it's nice. The price point is up to you whether you can justify $400 for a release aid. And that, to me, that's all about how much money you earn and how much you value this product. I mean, if you're going on international trips, for example, $400 for a release aid is absolutely zero. If you earn, huge sums of money, well, $400 for a release aid is nothing. If you struggle on a week-to-week basis, $400 for a release aid you're not going to touch. So it just depends on your price point. But a lovely release aid to shoot, and well worth having a shot with if you're looking at the Blade Pro. If you're looking at the top-end Carter release aids, the top-end Stanislavski release aids, check this one out because it is interesting, and it's interesting you can convert it to a back tension really quick. And the nickel plating is nice. I definitely found it nicer than the Blade to shoot. Whether this will take over the Blade sales will be very, very interesting. I think the price point is too close to the Blade for it not to take over the Blade sales. So anyway, I'm Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies. Enjoy archery, and the more you shoot, the better you'll shoot. Thanks for watching. Bye.